Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to go through my favorite bullet journaling supplies, and I will try to link all the products below in case you want to check them out. So let's start with my most used supply, and that is the Zebra Mild Liners. These come in so many different colors, and they're just great because they can give a little bit of a highlight if you want to go over some text, but they can also be used as markers. Some of the darker colors do have a little bit of bleeding, but it's honestly not that bad. I find myself always reaching for these because they have the one end that is like a highlighter and then the other end is a fine point, and it's really versatile. You can use it for so many things. I also love that they fit perfectly in this little mason jar so I can keep them on top of my desk. Next, let's talk about the Tombow dual brush pen. Most people use these for a calligraphy style font, but I'm not good at that, so I mostly use them as regular markers. What I love about these though is the brush tip is kind of in a perfect brush stroke, so that gives you the look of watercolor or paint versus the mild liner, which is more of a perfect line like a highlighter would give you. Again, there's a little bit of bleeding with the darker colors, but overall it's not too bad. Next are the Sipa metallic pens. I probably wouldn't have found these on my own, but I got them as a gift and now I use them all the time. I found that I mostly use the silver and gold though, so if they do have a pack that's just those two colors, I'd recommend that over getting the full pack. The other colors are a little bit darker, they're not as shimmery, and they do bleed a little bit more, but the silver and gold are amazing. These next pens are also very fun. These are the Pentel Sparkle Pop pens. While I use the silver and gold the most with these as well, I do use the other colors a bit more than with the last pens that I showed you. These are also more of a gel pen, so you do need to wait a bit for them to dry before you can move on, but it's just such a great and easy way to add a pop of glitter to the page, so it's so worth it to just have to let it dry for a second. And I'll zoom in here so you can see how metallic-y that is. It's just so pretty. I always use that for like stars and things like that. Next, I mostly use the black Faber-Castell artist pens and the white Jelly Roll pen. This one is the letter B, so it has the brush pen at the end, but I like to use it to make boxes, and then I'll go in with the white Jelly Roll pen to write over that, and it's such a simple header, but it really pops on the page. I love these little stamps by the brand Recollections, and I also love washi tape. This is my favorite robot washi tape. And now I'll show you how I use them together. So I take out the washi tape, unroll it a little bit, and then I take the stamp and I lift the bottom part up, and then you just put the washi tape in the middle, but you have to make sure you don't break it, be very careful. Then you punch the stamp and you can take out a little shape in the washi tape. So then it's kind of like a homemade sticker, and then you also have the piece with the shape punched in it there that you can use as well. And I just love those little stamps. You can also use them for paper, obviously. And then here we have this little carton of washi tape that someone had given me for my birthday, and I just love it. These stickers were kind of an impulse buy when I was at the craft store one day, but I ended up using them a lot last year. They have weather, they have dates, they have days of the week stickers, everything that you can think of, and this other one just has really pretty flowers, some metallic foily looking stickers. Last year I mostly did calendar spreads, so I just used these stickers to number each day, and it just gave it a little bit something extra there, made it look very pretty. I had been looking for a specific stamp in the shape of a calendar for so long, and I finally found one at the craft store, and I use this all the time. So it comes with this little stamp that's kind of like gel material, the stamp pad, and then this board that you put it on, just like so. And then you just take the stamp and rub it all over to get the ink on there. And then it's really just that simple. Then you just press down, and there you go, and you have a little calendar. You could use this for habit tracking, you could use this for, I used to put the pages, the last number of the page that I read in there to keep track of where I was in my book. Next, I wanted to share my favorite pens and markers that I use for writing most of the text in my bullet journal. I'm going to start with the Muji pen. This comes in a few different sizes. I have the .38 and the .5. I'm going to show you the .38 here first, but I love the .5 more for some reason. It's just easier for me to write better. I don't know if it's because it's got the thicker point at the end or what, but here's the .38, which is really thin and great if you have a small area that you're trying to write in. And then I'll go ahead and I will show you the .5. Then we have the Micron. This is another artist pen type thing, the Pigma Micron, and this is the size 01. It's so thin. This is probably the thinnest marker that I own, and I use it all the time. And then here's another Faber-Castell artist pen. This is in the size S. This is probably, I think, the thinnest one out of that set. It's a little bit thicker than the 01 that I just showed you, but I also use this all the time. And pretty much I use all of the Micron and all of the Faber-Castell markers all the time, but I would say I always reach for the thinnest ones mostly, so that's why I wanted to show you that. Then we'll zoom in here because I did want to kind of warn you about one thing. So the Muji pen, if you go over it in marker, it does smear a little bit, which is really annoying, so you have to let it dry a lot, and then even then it'll still sometimes smear. Whereas the Micron, that one smears just a tad, but the one that is like foolproof is the Faber-Castell. You can go over that in marker immediately after and it will not smear. If you're like me and you like to draw things in pencil first and then go over them with marker, I would probably go with the Faber-Castell because the other ones, when you go to erase, they do smear as well there. So just be wary of that when you go to purchase. And then last, let's just talk about the journals themselves. So this is a Moleskine. I have a ruler next to it just so you can see the sizing. This is another one. These are both the thin floppy material, the soft material, I guess. Then we have a Leuchtturm 1917. I think this is what most people use. And then we also have the Dot journal. The brand is Dot. It's hard to say which is my favorite, but I probably have to say either this Dot one that I'm showing you right now or the Leuchtturm, just because I like the small size and the hardcover. But I do sort of like the Moleskine as well, so it's a good option if you're looking for a soft cover. So those are all of my favorite products. I have so many more products though that I want to do a second video on. Products that I've bought in or been given as a gift that I don't really use and don't recommend buying. So I will do that in my next video. But here's just a little recap of all of my favorite products. Again, I'll try to link everything below in case you're interested in buying it. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.